Hello, you're very welcome to this video on using MyFuture Plus career apps from Careers Portal. So you've talked to your guidance counselor, your support worker, the person that is supporting you in employment and employability and exploring options of education. And you've discussed about setting up your MyFuture Plus profile. You've set it up. You can log on to careersportal.ie and you click login on the top right hand corner here. So you can add in your username and your password and click login. When you log in, you'll be presented with a number of career apps that will help you understand your journey, where you're coming from, where you're at, and where it is you would like to work towards. Each of these different career apps will give you a different piece of the jigsaw puzzle, I suppose, to build your picture of the type of education, training, employment, and career that you would like to work towards in your particular journey. So whether that is, in previous videos, I have done career sectors profiler, the sector of the Irish economy you'd like to work towards. There are up to 33 different sectors, everything from IT to hospitality to healthcare to tourism to education to community and voluntary work to security and defence forces and so on. So you can explore that. Your interest profiler, I suppose you could explore where your interests fit in relation to a type of education, training, and a career type, a job type. Personality quiz is how your personality might match towards a particular type of career to give you a better sense of who you are, your personality, and so on. The career skills are basically what you will talk about in your CV, or if you're using a networking platform, of how you would describe the experience. What have I done? What can I do? What were the results of what I can do and have done? As well as that, I suppose, that will form part of a CV, reflecting on the situations, the tasks, the actions, and the results that you have done, or the context to the actions, the results, and the learning. So this is what as well you will talk about at an interview. There's all different types of interviews, whether that's a group-based interview, a competency-based interview, or whether that is different types of ways of job seeking, applications and CVs. They're all kind of inbuilt within the MyFuture Plus. Along with the careers and skills, you can use career docs along with the actual CV builder as well to build your CV. Your career values as well. We have talked about how the values express during your work and what you do, what's important to you in relation to your work. Well, for today's app, what I will do is I will explore the learning styles. So what type of learner am I at the moment? What type of learning suits the way I learn and how I take in information and how I understand that information and how I express different types of skills? So what I can do is I can click into this particular career app and I can begin to explore my learning styles. All the career apps that I do are saved within my MyFuture Plus profile, and they will appear along the left-hand side, and they'll be available to me to do and to come back to, and will contribute to my particular understanding of where I have come from, where I'm at, and where I'm looking to work towards. And also will contribute, learning style, for example, will contribute to the different type of course and training that I choose, different sector, I suppose, that I choose. And as well as that, whether I am a more applied learning, like more kind of hands-on learning, or if I like a balance, I could explore whether it's an apprenticeship. If I'm more, I prefer kind of class-based learning, or prefer different types of learning. It may well be that a mix of college-based learning through CAO, further education and training, either post-leaving cert courses or further education courses from National Framework Qualifications Level 1 up to Level 6, or in college Level 6 up to Level 8, or indeed if I'm going to go on to postgraduate study, if I would like to do that. So I can explore different ways of working from who I am and ways of development from who I am to where I would like to get to. And the actual career apps themselves for managing your career, I can turn my understanding of myself, how I'm going to get there, into a manageable plan that I can take step by step, and I can work with the person who's supporting me to do that. So the Learning Styles app, I can click on Learning Styles. I get a description of what the Learning Styles app is and a description of the VAC model, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic model. Visual, everyone will be a mix of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So I could see a task and I could understand it by, I'm quite visual in how I look, see, and take in the information. Auditory, I could get told about it, I could hear about it, I could listen to it, I can take it in various different forms and formats. And that is how I will best understand or process the information. Or kinesthetic, I'm quite hands-on. I could hear about a task, I could see a task, I could begin to understand the task, but the best way that I process the learning could be hands-on practicing of what I do. So everyone will be a mix of the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic learning in different forms and formats. So it will suit people in different ways. So what I can do is I can go in as well. I can, if I need to, I can use parts of the site. I can add a plugin to read aloud different sections of the site.
When we start to learn something new, our first concern is understandably with the subject or content we are dealing with. But if you stop to consider how you learn.
So what I can do is I can add in from assistive tech hives or from browser tools and add-ons, I can add in whether it is if I'm using my browser as Chrome or Explorer or Microsoft Edge or Safari, there's different types of accessibility tools if I feel I might benefit from using them for time or support or whatever it is. So it may well be that there's elements of using these to better support my learning style. So I can highlight these, and when I have added the assistive tech or the browser tools into my particular browser, the one I'm using here is Chrome, I can add this in, I can right click it, and I can left click to have the browser tool read it back to me if I need to. So what I can do along the right hand side of the screen, as you can see here, you can go in and there's a couple of different things you can do. You can do the learning style test, you can view your results, you can reflect on your learning strengths, and what you can do is all of these three together, you can view your overall report. So I'll go into learning style. So I left click on learning style there, and there's up to 32 statements that I can reflect on. Do these match with me as how I learn? So for example, question 1, I prefer learning by reading, listening, and watching rather than doing. So I could say strongly disagree. I could click on this, disagree. So if this really isn't me, I can click on strongly disagree. It's kind of me. Neutral, I'm kind of on in between. Or if this, yeah, it's mostly me, or yeah, that's really me. You know, I could strongly agree. So I could pick along this row as to if it doesn't match me, kind of, or yeah, that really matches my learning style. So if I strongly agree and click next question, I can go through these and I can pick out the ones that will match my particular learning style. So I'm beginning to reflect not only on the type of course, training, employment, work experience that I would like to do. I'm beginning to reflect on, from the statements, and whether it's not really me, kind of me, or yeah, that's a lot me. I'm beginning to reflect on how I learn. Because how we learn, I suppose, might match best towards the type of course that we do and the type of learning that we do to build towards a particular career. So what I get at the end of it is my results will show where my particular elements of learning style are at the moment. This may change over time. As I do different types of course, I can build my confidence, my skills, my awareness of trying out different types of learning, and this may change over time. But for the moment, this is how I see me based on my answers. So with this, what I can do is I can go in, I can see, what does practical learning mean? Like, I can get a sense of
Good with details, solving problems and getting results, focusing on a topic until it is completed, giving clear, well-structured and detailed information.
So that's what I would have natural talents or strengths in, as well as that, what I may have challenges with and how I might improve elements of learning and build on my learning and so on. So moving on from that, what I can do is, rather than getting a sense of the first kind of step, what I can do is I can move forward and I can begin to reflect on where my learning styles might be best expressed and used and developed within a particular learning style. So I can reflect on what learning style I like to use most. So if it is that, for instance, say if I was looking to be a motor mechanic, I can picture in my head being a motor mechanic. It may well be that I'm quite visual in how I learn and how I take information in and process it. So it may be visual, seeing tasks to understand and then practicing them. It may well be that so I can begin to reflect on how my learning style matches to a particular type of job. So what I mostly prefer doing, and giving examples of type of learning used and proved to be more effective. So say if it is motor mechanic and I was observing someone working on a car, I seen what they were doing and I could visualize what it is they were doing, and with support, practice safely to learn. So what that tells me is I'm getting a sense of, okay, well, how have I learned practical tasks that might match towards a type of job and career that I might use in future. And what I can do is I can further reflect on different types of learning, as well as things I might find challenging with learning and so on, because there might be various different things. I may not have confidence in a classroom. I may not have confidence with book learning. I may have challenges with IT and different types of online learning and so on. So I can begin to reflect on my challenges, and as well as that, how I could improve. It may well be kind of seeking support for online learning. It may be assistive tech. Or browser tools. So on, because it'd be various different types of things that's going to help me in my pathway of learning. So when I save them, I suppose at the end, I can click on my overall report. And what will be matched into my report is getting a sense of, based on my answers for the particular learning style assessment that I've done, is where my learning styles, where I view my learning styles might match. As well as that, my reflections on the type of learning I prefer, examples of this, and overall kind of how I view my kind of learning talents and so on, where I find difficulty and how I might get support. So I can take and retake this learning style test. And with this assessment, it will give me an idea of which type of learning might match towards me as a learner and as a learning path and so on. So where is that relevant? So when I go out to my landing page, I suppose where this has good relevance is I can go back into my learning styles and I can see the results of the report that I've taken previously. So I can do as much of this and I could come back to it if I need to add elements to it as well. But if I'm looking for a particular type of course or training or a way of learning, so whether it is an apprenticeship, further education and training, post-leaving cert courses, or whether it is CAO and college-based courses, each of these will have different types of learning experiences and will draw on different types of learning styles for students, for learners, and so on. Whether it's an apprenticeship, which is a balance between on-the-job learning, learning through active learning, learning in further education and training in a classroom, in a training center, or whether it is a mix of through the different phases, going to college as well. So take motor mechanic, for example, as one that I was interested in. I can go in and I can integrate it into MyFuture Plus. I can see motor mechanic, what's involved in it, how long it would take me to do. I can see the entry requirements I will need before the course, whether I'm adding on a pre-apprenticeship course through a training center or a further education center with a PLC or traineeship, for example. How I would actually realistically get an apprenticeship, and this particular one is through employers, registered employers, through Solus. What's involved? This is a mix of the actual training that's involved with it in the actual phases. So whether it is with the employer in phases 1, 3, 5, and 7, or off the job, which will be in like a training center of phase 2, in a college of phase 4 and phases 6. So this will give me an idea of how I would go from steps through the actual steps towards qualifying. As well as that, I will look at, I can look at different skills and qualities involved within it, the overall kind of work activities. Is this using elements of how I learn and how I like to learn best and what I like to do? Am I a problem solver? Do I prefer being active and so on? The career progressions as well, it gives me an idea of when I kind of qualify in this, how I might progress and which steps I can take, as well as that there's pay and fees, what kind of fees that are there at the moment, and the different kind of rates of pay as well in relation to that. So each time I can click between different screens. I can always go back to my career file by clicking in the top left-hand corner. And that will bring me back to the screen where I am in looking at my career profile. I can view all of my interests. And I can view all the elements of what I've looked at. So whether it is I want to go in, I want to search motor mechanic. And I can say, okay, I'm really, really interested in that. I can add that to my saved careers. And when I click on this in my library, when I go down, motor mechanic will be there as a link that I can click on and get right back into this. So that's a run through of how you might use learning styles to better understand what learning might suit you, and to give you an idea of which type of pathway in learning and development towards education, training and employment and developing work experience. Because sometimes work experience, the portfolio that we do, or the actual work experience that we get in post-leaving cert courses or the on-the-job phases in apprenticeships or work experience and interning basically within colleges, and they will be important to us basically because we'll be able to express our learning in a practical way and get developments with regards to what we would talk about in our career skills, add into our CV and talk about at interviews and so on. So thank you very much for listening to this video, and I wish you the very best of luck with everything on your career journey. Careers Portal is here to support you through the MyFuture Plus program and the various other programs that we have. As well as that, if you're unsure of what it is you would like to do and you're looking for support in relation to an overall quick guide on MyFuture Plus, that's available to you here in your resources in an accessible PDF format for language and accessibility support tools if needs be. There's an overall kind of video in relation to the resources. We'll be adding to these videos as we go in order to support people to understand using the different apps. The last thing to say is I wish you the very best of luck. All the best.